Around 300 million years ago, in what is now northeastern Illinois, there existed an environment called the Mazon Creek, where the conditions led to exceptional fossil preservation, which we can find in that area today. The Mazon Creek fossils come from one of two paleo-environmental regions, the Braidwood Forest and freshwater, or the marine Essex. First, let's examine some of the possible flora that you might have come across in the Braidwood Forest. There were many ferns in the forest, and they're usually easy to identify based on the shape of their leaves. Another common type of plant has leaf whorls. These structures often look like flowers in fossil impressions. However, flowers didn't exist at this time in prehistory. Fossil impressions of seeds aren't as common, and their species is also harder to identify since most are shaped very similarly. Bark is another common fossil that you can find from Mazon Creek. You can usually identify the species by examining the pattern of the impression. Now, let's move underwater to examine the marine Essex fauna. One of the most common fossils you can find is a clamshell, known as a bivalve. These are preserved very well because of their hard structures that don't decay as quickly as soft tissues. Shrimp and other crustaceans can also be found in the Mazon Creek fossil record, and surprisingly, they very much resemble the shrimp that we know today. There were also many worms living underwater 300 million years ago, and their species can be identified mostly by their shape, size, and number of segments. One of the most interesting creatures found in the fossil record are jellyfish, because they're made up entirely of soft tissues, which are usually impossible to preserve, but the Mazon Creek has very many of them. So many, in fact, that this genus was named Essexella, after the region of Essex. Finally, there is no creature more controversial to come out of the Mazon Creek fossil bed than the infamous Tullymonstrum gregarium, or Tully monster. Researchers are divided on many aspects of its structures, including whether or not it was a vertebrate, and it continues to be an active area of study. This is just an artistic rendering of what it might have looked like. We hope you learned something new about the Mazon Creek and its various flora and fauna. You can visit your local museum to see some examples of these fossils in person.